Welcome to the Hockeytown West Podcast. Here to talk all things Griffins, Firebirds, and Walleye are your hosts, Nick Harrington and Brandon Cook.
What's up, buddy? Happy, what day is it today? Oh, man.
Tuesday.
Holy smokes. The week's already a blur and it just started.
Yeah, you lost a few days.
I did. I lost a few days and I feel like I'm losing more days right now. I caught whatever plague bug is going around and yeah, it's not fun.
No,
Not fun at all, but we're going to power through this.
Yeah, stay away from me. So you had to deal with a death first, right?
We did?
Yeah, the Lion season.
Oh,
We spent
I
all
didn't approach it like that. That's a dark way to bring that up. Yeah, season's over. Season's over.
Typically we record on Sundays, but we waited for the game and yeah, not great. And then Monday we were kind of still sad about it, which I think the whole state was. I think the whole state needed the day bereavement leave.
I mean, I totally agree with that, but that's not the reason we didn't record Monday. It's, you got stuck at work late and I was still working late too. So we just, it worked out for us both. We needed a day to bereave for the Lions, but also we had to work. So we didn't really get that out of our system.
Yeah.
It is sad. It's sad, but like, what a season, man. What a season. A season I never thought I'd see in my lifetime.
Well, get ready for next season, buddy, because I think we run it right back and right through them. So,
seeing Ben Johnson announce that he's staying, man, that hit me right in the feels today. I was like, "Yep, this is great." Aaron Glenn does the same thing, and they get a good secondary going. This team's going to be an absolute wagon next season. So,
and that kicker from Iowa that I sent you, 63-yard bombers.
It's not about not trusting the kicker. People have got that narrative so wrong. So wrong. I sent you sent me one statistic that next morning and you're like, yeah, they statistically should have kicked it. And then I pointed out their statistics as a team. And
No, don't get that twisted. No, don't get that twisted. That is not what I meant when I sent that. One, I sent that to you, but I didn't mean to send it to you. I was trying to send it to my other buddy. And I was like, why didn't he reply back yet? Oh, because I sent it to Brandon and Heather for some reason. But the statistics were split on it one way or another of 4th and 2 and 4th and 2 to kick it or to go for it. And the stat that I saw later on was Bagley was like terrible from long distance. So it was actually better for them to go for it. And I was all for them going for it. I think that game came down to 3 plays. The missed interception, the 50-yard bomber to Brandon Ayuk, and then the fumble. And then I can't remember what the other play was.
3 drop passes.
Yeah, the 4th and 2 from I think it was Josh Reynolds. So I think those 3 plays, the 50-yarder for sure, that was the starting point. But you gotta, it was a great season. I think we'll be back next year. And 49ers have been experienced for years. They've been here. They've done it. They've won a Super Bowl. Like the Lions just got here with 3 rookies that ran their offense. Like I think that's huge. So I think we got to where we were supposed to hit for this season. I think next season we go one more. And they released the colors for next year. I don't know if you saw this.
I didn't see it yet. No.
They're blue and yellow.
What? Oh, for the Super Bowl colors?
Yeah.
Nice.
So
that's a Michigan Super Bowl all the way there, baby.
So somebody was trying to say the Bengals. Lions and Bengals.
The Lions and the Chargers.
Yeah, maybe it's Oh, that'd be kind of cool for Jim.
Be cool for Jim.
But anyways,
enough about football. We are the Hockeytown West Podcast, not the Football West Podcast. And I'm one of your hosts, Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
And we have a fun weekend to unpack for the Grand Rapids Griffins, actually. This was a wild one. We got a game on Friday to talk about where we had a new teammate for the boys and then a brand new team as a whole on Saturday. So
yeah, let's get toasted.
Let's get toasted. I feel toasted. It's like a truck hit me. But no, let's jump into Friday here. So we woke up, or we thought, on Thursday we had heard some rumblings of a Ville Husso reassignment to Grand Rapids for conditioning. And the question mark around everything was, okay, if that happens, what game does he play? Does he play Friday? Does he play Saturday? and he was sent down and Thursday and got to play Friday. He started for the boys and gets a shutout in his first game since December 18th, I think it was.
Something like that.
So, I mean, right there, that was already a plus to the night outside of just cutting out the Belleville Senators, with the Red Wings and Senators rivalry that's come out now. Anytime we beat the farm team, it feels even better. But Husso shutout, man. I thought he looked good.
He looked really good. He was tracking the puck well. They didn't give him a whole lot of work to do either, which was good for his first game back. So, I mean, do we see the return of the Ville Husso that we all expect?
I would have liked to see him get tested a little bit more in it, but I think he got the minutes he needed to in that game. I mean, me that night on our Twitter page, just going back and forth with a few Husso haters, and I'm not a Husso hater. I'm a big Husso guy. I think if we get mid last season form Husso back, where we don't have to ride him like they're currently riding Alex Lyon, if we can get that and keep Alex Lyon playing the way he is, that's a huge positive for the Red Wings. Huge positive.
Oh yeah, I think Husso. I mean, Husso's going to be your starter, and then you have Lyon. Lyon's taken over. He's been able to steal games, but they signed Ville to be the starter. They signed Lyon to be the backup. Now, can Lyon overtake him? Yeah, he definitely has the last this whole month. I mean, since Ville's had his kid, he's hasn't been strong, but injury kid, he's been out. So I'm hoping he comes back to form.
I mean, yeah, as it stands right now, that net is Lions. Husso has to earn that back, and I don't think Lolo's just going to let Husso walk in and take it back either. That's not how this is going to go.
Yeah, hopefully,
there's no way.
Reimer's the one sent on the bench or getting traded at the deadline.
That would be extremely ideal. I just want a situation like last year where we get a guy on waivers who we think is just here for a minute, and then all of a sudden he ends up being here. I don't want Reimer in Grand Rapids. I like our goalie room right now. I think our goalie room is set the way it needs to be.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, maybe not after Saturday, but but who would have thought out of the 3 goalies up in Detroit that Husso was going to be the first one down here this season? We all had Lyon pegged as the starter here in Grand Rapids, and then Kosa backing him up, and then Lyon's been on this hot streak. We haven't seen Reimer down, and Husso was actually the first one to move. So since goalie's been able to move freely now.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, I'm glad we got to see Husso for a game. It was fun. I had a lot of fun with that game. We were sitting in a little bit different spot, which we were unsure of at first, but it gave us a really good view of the ice overall, watching plays develop and everything like that. So I did appreciate that, and just kind of being able to focus in on Husso, watching him. Like you said, he was tracking the puck well. He was playing his usual self. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary where I was like, oh, there's that I remembered, a couple months ago. I didn't see any of that. I just saw vintage Husso, and it was all good. But enough of the Detroit Red Wings goaltender now, as he's already sent back. He only got that one game, and they sent him right back. He was back at practice the next morning, which is wild to me. I hate that drive more than anybody else. And, well, maybe not you, but to think of playing a full game, driving back and going to practice, it's the professional athlete life, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. But outside of that, in this game, man, a shutout for the Griffins. What a game from the defense, and what a game from the offense to play extremely defensively sound. Like, we said we wish Husso was tested more. He did face 25 shots, 8 in the first from Belleville, 9 in the second, and 8 in the third. And Grand Rapids only put up 23 shots total. So overall, is defensively, they did play very, very good. A lot of the guys stepped up and played a really big way, I think, for the team. And, again, we saw the power play again contribute 1 for 5, and the penalty kill a perfect 3 for 3. So I don't even know who to focus in on here, because one, I want to get to Saturday so badly, but two, everybody, I think just the whole team played extremely well.
I think we're seeing a lot of like the same thing as Detroit is. I mean, they're on like similar stretches right now of play too, but both teams have really focused on defense and playing a defensively sound game. And like this game was scoreless for the first 2 periods.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, this is weird. Like, usually we're starting out fast, we're starting out good, and it took a while for us to get going on this in this game.
I'm so glad you said that, because one of the things that we've talked about for the past couple of games, the 3 games up to this, the Griffins had to come back in the third to win a game, and they just started terribly. Now, did they start fantastic in this game? No, They started a little slow still, but the start was much better. The start is much better than we've seen recently. And I think that contributes to, Dan Watson saying that they were going to really focus on that this week, focus on their starts, focus on how their play is going to look in the first and second. And I think in this game really kind of set that tone for they're on the right track for what they needed to improve on. And they did a good job on that. But again, the scoring didn't come till the third. And after this game, the crazy stat was I think it was after the last like 4 games, the Griffins had outscored their opponent 12-0 in the third period, which was just an insane stat right there. Like these boys know how to lock down a game and play in the third period. It's crazy.
Well, it's good too. I mean, they're coming back or they're finishing them off in that third. I mean, lately it's been they're coming back. Before that, they were closing it. They were finishing it off. Putting that final nail in the coffin there in the third. So it's interesting to see the kind of the Jekyll and Hyde we've seen with this team, but it's made it for fun. It's made a fun game to watch lately.
Yeah, it really has. And I mean, like I said, it's hard to pick out certain players, but I did my best to try to talk about a couple key guys that we talk about quite a bit on here. Some good, some positive that we usually talk to them about. But let's just start with Elmer Soderblom. An assist and a +1 in this game. And this was a game we got to mention too. Steve Yzerman was in the building. He was there watching Philly. So I think a few guys had a little bit of extra pep in their step in this game once the third period especially hit. But I thought through all 3 periods that Elmer played one of the most sound games and most aggressive games I think I've seen him play as a Griffin this year.
Yeah, I would have to. I mean, they know Steve watches these games at home, but I think there was a different energy in the arena, not only with Husso there, but like Steve Yzerman was in the building. They're watching him. Like I felt like Elmer gave more effort tonight than he had in a lot of the games prior. Uh, just more recently, he got the assist. He was throwing the body, making good plays. That there really wasn't anything that negative that I could that we could see out of him. Every once in a while, like I remember in the beginning of the season, he was doing those trick plays, trying to do that, and then like it wouldn't work. Like he wasn't trying that. He wasn't trying to be fancy. He was just trying to make the right play at the right time and provide the offense.
Yeah. I mean, I loved his gameplay in this one. I hoped to see more of it. And spoiler alert, we saw a lot more of it on Saturday night, but we'll get there. The next guy, I mean, how do you not talk about him? 3-point night, Mr. Berge, Mr. Jonathan Berggren, just absolutely tore it up in this game. He scored the first goal of the game, had an assist on the second goal. It was on the power play, and of course got the empty netter to close out the game. I mean, he was involved in all 3 goals in a game where you come into the third period scoreless. He really was providing that spark for this team.
Yeah, but I don't know what Bergie's been eating lately or drinking before the games, but he is like since he's came back from Detroit, he's just been on a freaking tear. He's having more fun as well. And I mean, we'll get to that in Saturday's game, but he he doesn't look like he's playing pissed off hockey. I think he understands what the plan in place is for him, and he's going out there and having fun. I mean, it's going to benefit him one way or another, even if he's getting pulled up to Detroit this season or wait until the start of next season. Like he's having fun with where he's at right now, which is huge. Like he's been celebrating his goals. He's getting
which he wasn't for a while there.
No, he was just ticked. So it's good to see him in a good mood, scoring goals, being happy. Like I'm sure he's going to enjoy this this stretch of this break that's coming up for him too, with all those games that he played between the 2 clubs.
He doesn't really get a break though. He's going to the All-Star game, so he doesn't really get a break. He gets a little vacation. I mean, it's a little vacation. It is out in San Jose. It's out in California. Him and Simon are going to go relax a little bit, but yeah, and well deserved to both of them. They definitely should. And yeah, his game on Friday night, man. Again, 2 goals, 1 assist, +2, 4 shots on goal, and 2 penalty minutes in there too. He was everywhere. He was doing everything on the ice, everything he needed to get the team a win, and he did. So, not saying there's no I in team. He didn't do it all by himself, but dang, he was a big part of it.
Well, I mean, you take out his 2. Yeah, never mind.
Carter Mazur, goal and an assist in that game, +1 as well. Another good game for Carter there. That second goal on the power play there was it was weird. He kind of banked it off the defenseman's stick as the guy went to lay down his stick to block a pass, and he just fired it at the stick with enough force that it deflected right into the net. We thought it was Gettinger's goal at first, but
Oh yeah,
it was not. But that was a greasy little goal, and that's the thing we need to see Carter doing, finding ways to make magic happen close up to the net like that, especially on the power play, and he was doing it. He got to the right spot and made something happen. But overall, in the entire game, I wouldn't say he's playing pissed off hockey, but at the same time, he's played with a little bit of an edge Friday night. He definitely was trying to get under Belleville's skin a little bit and succeeded quite a few times. And I thought he played really well.
Yeah, I mean, and it's huge for Carter because if he's showing up on the stat sheet, he's getting that momentum. He's going to start going on a little bit of a tear. It's going to continue. He's going to build momentum. And so he was off on a small, I can't remember his last game that he had a point in, but it wasn't too long ago. So, I mean, continue to build that momentum and not going on a cold streak is important too.
Yeah, we can't have him get cold there for sure. We don't want that. For a minute there, it felt like he did. He got really hot, and then we didn't really hear too much from him. Not that he was in a cold streak by any means, but his points were really like secondary assists or maybe the primary assists. We weren't seeing a lot of scoring from him in that aspect, but he's starting to heat up again a little bit, which is good, and he's doing all the right things himself. So I like where he's at, and I like the game he played on Friday night.
And if he just put pucks to the net, I mean, it got deflected off of the defenseman's stick, but he still went in. So I mean, that I think gives him a little bit of confidence there too, of just shoot, see what happens. It might hit the net, and it might hit somebody else, and then go into the net. You got to at least shoot it.
Yeah, and I mean, with this game too, it really felt like you could feel the frustration growing on the Belleville side. You could feel the tension starting to form between these two teams. And I know by the time the end of this game, it was getting quite chippy. And I think you and I both knew what Saturday night could potentially be between these two teams because we've seen what Belleville does before. I mean, look, just a week prior to this, they get beat by Laval and go take it out on Laval's goalie at the end of the game. So foreshadowing here, but this game definitely set up a pissed off Belleville for Saturday night. And, for the Griffins to come in and not that Belleville's the best team in the league by any means, but to shut them down like this and get them that pissed off, like it's hard to win any game in this league. We've said it before and we'll say it again. It's hard to win games in the AHL, no matter what team you're playing against, unless maybe you're playing against Manitoba. But look, we needed 2 comeback wins against them even. So to do what they did, I think the boys knew right there that they found their identity a little bit, play with a little bit of an edge, get the team a little pissed off. They just got to figure out how to start better. And that's something that we're going to be keeping a close eye on going forward. Is we need the starts to be better. I know Saturday, like we said, that there was a better start, but they got out of hand. Like the first and second period play of this team has got to get better to go make a run for it. We know they can play in the third. It doesn't matter what's going on. They're going to find ways to win in the third. You just got to figure out why they're not starting so well. And I if I'm a coach, I'm scratching my head too. You look at the way they do play in the third. You're like, why the hell can't you do this for the first 2 periods? What's going on?
I think the first hasn't been the problem. I think it's more the second is where we kind of take a dip. I mean, I'll look more into the stats too on it, but
oh no, the firsts are atrocious. Like they're bad. Like this is coming off the stretch of the couple first periods where we barely scratched 6-7 goals in those periods, or 6-7 shots in those periods. 6-7 goals. Yeah, that'd be great.
Dang, I wish that was a problem.
Right. But I mean, think of that one Rockford game where we had 3 shots on goal at the end of the first or whatever, and that was really what screwed us up. That's where our bad starts really started, was that one Rockford game, and then it kind of snowballed into the next 4 or 5 games. So I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint. When you watch it, you don't really understand it. You're like, you see the efforts there. Is it just not finishing in their effort? Is it not finishing their checks? Is it not finishing their moves? Is it getting too cute? I don't know.
We only gave Belleville I'm counting 7, 8 high quality shots right in the face off, like right in the goal crease. I mean, and Husso did what he was supposed to do. Come in, stop it. I mean, I thought it was a good game, and we didn't get bullied. That was the other important thing that I was thinking of too, because last time Belleville's bullied us, the league kind of caught on to what will derail us, and it's being bullied, and they weren't able to do it. They didn't do it, and we were able to, play our game and still end up getting the win. So I thought that was important.
Yeah, I mean, the Griffins definitely have figured out how to approach a bullying team. It's kind of let them push you around a little bit, but don't make that extra little punch at the end to get back at them. Let them walk themselves into a penalty. I mean, Grand Rapids had 5 power play opportunities in this game. They definitely walked themselves into quite a bit. Tripping, cross-checking, holding, and a delay of game at the end of the game there. that ended up being the game. That's the power play we had the goal on. So that let them make the stupid mistakes. Don't make them on your own. But also at the same time, don't get completely walked over, which we'll talk about soon.
Yeah, when we cover the our favorite new team.
Yeah, right. Anything else you want to add for Friday night, sir?
No, I mean, I was excited. It was a good game. And the energy was good too. A little different perspective from where we sat, but yeah, I was happy with the result. I was hoping to see that, especially with the Ville kept coming back in his first game, getting a shutout. Like that's huge for him. So good to see.
Yeah, if anything, that's a big confidence booster for him after the stretch he went through in Detroit. So I mean, automatically right there, that's a win in itself outside of the 3-0 win. And yeah, the energy was good that night. 8,296 people in the crowd, almost a sellout that night. And it was loud. It was fun. People were having a good time. We only got one good Jared Goff chant in this one. They definitely carried over into Saturday night. But yeah, a really just good team game for the guys, and you could even see in the post game interviews afterwards, they were all in a good mood about it. Everyone was happy, and on to Saturday night, I guess, right?
On to Saturday.
But first,
you
need to go read an ad. We have obligations to meet, so you need to go read an ad, sir.
Yeah, it's a new one this week, so tune in.
Oh God, that's terrifying for me.
Yeah.
Looking for a super offer for Super Bowl 58? DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. New customers can bet on the big game and turn $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets. Currently, the Kansas City Chiefs money line is plus 105, so if you bet $5, you could win $10.25. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code THPN. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 58 with code THPN. The crowd is yours. No problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467369. In Connecticut, help bill for problem gambling, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Will Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. cdkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
And we're back. Good job on that ad read, sir. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm going to assume it's wonderful.
I haven't even read it yet, so I'm excited for you to hear it.
I set the expectations here for it.
Oh,
so those watching on YouTube might be questioning, where did a blue hockey jersey come from? Even though it's kind of hard to see, but we had a new team in Grand Rapids on a Saturday night.
It was more ways than one.
Dude, for real. But yeah, the Griffins became the Flying Toasters, which made the most confusing crowd chants I've ever been a part of. Who do you chant for, the Griffins or the Toasters?
Oh, the Toasters or Jared Goff. Like, who do you?
or Jared Goff? You know, that's what was there 6 in that game?
Yeah, it was still going in there too. So.
Credit to the Griffins. They went all in on this promotion here. So for those that don't know, the backstory is back when the team was founded, they had a community engagement effort to get name suggestions for the team. And one of the suggestions was the Grand Rapids Flying Toasters. So this theme night was what could have been night, which when they originally announced all the theme nights, we were like, what the heck is this night going to be? And they went all in. The jerseys, which are they grew on me so quickly. They're absolutely sick. They're going to be obviously one of a kind. We won't see this again, but the way they did the colors, the design, the logo for it, fantastic. The name on the boards the scoreboard for the team was the Toasters. All the graphics around the arena were updated as Toasters. Eric Zane, the PA announcer, did his best to call them the Toasters all night. He only up twice. I mean, imagine going your whole PA career in this arena, calling them the Griffins, and all of a sudden one night go, hey, they're now the Toasters. Don't screw this up. He did a good job. But overall, man, the team did a fantastic job. And they did those giveaway jerseys at the door, too, which the quality of those shocked the crap out of us.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, I was glad to see that it was a giveaway, a full giveaway for those. So that way you had some crowd support showing the colors. That was my thing on it. So, because there was a lot, they had a lot of them. There was a lot of blue in attendance. So at least from my seat, I can see a lot.
Well, the blue is also close enough to a Lions blue, too. So, we couldn't really tell if there was a Lions jersey or a Toasters jersey from afar. And there was quite a few Lions jerseys, too. Yeah, this was probably one of my favorite promotions they've done in a long time, just because of how everything kind of came together as a whole. Like it just felt like that night the team was truly the Flying Toasters.
Came together like a PB&J sandwich.
He warned me he has a lot of these lined up here, so let's see how this goes, folks. I apologize in advance. But on top of this being the Toaster night, which again, a sellout crowd, which we don't see much of this season so far, which is really nice to see. On top of this, though, we had probably one of the craziest games we've been to all season unfold right in front of us. This was a wild one. I don't even know how to unpack this one. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, and we had Wing Wheel podcast night there too. So I mean, not only was Flag Toasters, but we had Wing Wheel going on at the same time. So yeah, huge crowd, huge sellout crowd. And it started really odd, to be honest.
It started great. So I mean,
well, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, all things considered, we just talked in the last half of the episode, about the Griffins struggling to start. Well, 4 minutes, 43 seconds of this game, William Vollinder, out of all people, gets down low, gets a shot on net, and buries it. We've been saying for the last couple episodes, this kid needs to get down closer to the net. He's got a wicked shot. Let's see what he can do there. And the first opportunity we've seen him have in a while down there, he took it, and God, what a beauty that was. He was so happy after that one, too. I've never seen that kid smile that big.
I was stoked. I wore his jersey that night too, so I gave him a little bump.
There you go. There you go. The jersey bump.
The jersey bump.
And not so long after that, 14 minutes into the period, Albert Johansson gets probably the nastiest backhand goal I've ever seen a defenseman score in my life. It was disgusting. He takes it in on his own, on the backhand the whole time, and he just roofs it. I think he shocked himself on that one. I don't think he knew he had that in him. I didn't know he had that in him.
Hey, get shots to the net. That's all we're asking for. I love to see it. 2 defensemen come out and score the first period. I'm like, What is going on? And they weren't from the blue line. They were up close. Like, they were close shots. It seemed like when they came up on that end, because they both scored from about the same area on the ice. If I remember, because we sat in a different spot that night too. But they both came up on that left side and rifled it over the goalie. So beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful
it was a great start. Like we said, they've struggled starting, and then after the first period, they led 2-0. And at that point, you're thinking, wow, we have 4 periods in a row of shutouts here, or shutout hockey against this Belleville team. This is great. This is going to carry through the whole game. And then 2 minutes, 57 seconds into the second, Spezia gets a goal. We're up 3-0. We're like, all right, the vibes are incredible now. We're feeling good. Things are going great. And then, oh my God, does it go downhill so fast?
I looked at you and I was like, this is where it's going to fall apart right here. I was like, I could tell that I think there was a timeout and there was a whole new Belleville team out there. They just came out faster. They wanted it more. They started competing. They were throwing the body and they were getting shots on net. Like it was bad.
Well, Elmer took a hooking call. And it was the softest hook I've ever seen in my life. I remember putting that one on Twitter there, just looking at that going, where was the hook? I don't see it at all. And that power play, for some reason, all the momentum swung right there. Because on that one, Crookshank was able to convert on it and get Belleville's first goal. But then literally 2 minutes later, they get on the board again. And a few minutes later, they get on the board again. And then right at the end of the period, Crookshank gets on the board again. And all of a sudden, they've got a 4-3 lead coming out of the second period. And Hutch, absolutely, who, by the way, got the start in this one, Hutch had probably one of the worst periods of hockey I think we've seen him play this whole time. He played 2 full periods. He had 11 saves on 15 shots. This was not a good game for him. And that was... I had no words at the end of that one. The air sucked out of that arena. It was weird.
It got crazy. And I told you in the first period, I was watching Hutch. I'm like, he looks shaky as heck tonight. And then we all thought Koso was going to start. We figured that would be the rotation. Dan Watson said at the event that Ville kind of threw off the rotation a little bit coming down, but we thought Koso would still get to start with everybody in the building. They put Hutch in. I'm like, he looked shaky like in the first period, and he looked shaky again in the second. And that was his last period of hockey for the night. So not great. The building, the energy was just gone. It was completely, everybody was like, what just happened to our 3-0 lead? Now we're down 1 goal.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just Hutch's fault for sure. The team really they got outworked in that period. Like Belleville all of a sudden looked like a brand new hockey team. And the puck movement was fantastic. They were able to dominate possession in the zone very well. And I just was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe it. The momentum that we had coming out of that first period and to get a goal early in the second like that, just for it to all fall apart that fast, it felt wrong. It was really weird. And then, second intermission, we got up, went and did our little meet and greet real quick with the Wing Wheel guys, got the family photo taken with all the Wings and Griffins fans. That was fun. We come back and we're sitting down right as the period's starting, and we look over and Coach is in net. And all felt right in the world suddenly.
Yeah.
That's how the game should have started. Let's be real here. He came into this dumpster fire all of a sudden and played lights out. It was absolutely incredible. And in the process of all that happening too, Austin Zarnik, 5 minutes into the period, gets a power play goal, gets the game tied. And then my favorite goal of the night, even over the Johansson goal, Elmer Soderblom gets the boys the lead. He was so hungry coming into the zone for this puck. He was fighting for it, pushing guys off of it, being able to establish that presence in the zone. The Griffins could establish where they wanted to be at, start setting up. And Elmer, at one point, calls for it, taps his stick on the ice repeatedly. And I'm like, get it to him. Get it. And they got it to him, and he buried it. And I've never seen a photo after a goal with a bigger smile on his face than that one right there. That kid was pumped, and he should be. Like we said, he's been playing really good hockey, and for him to find the back of the net on that one there on a play that really started off with him just being extremely dominant, that one right there, I was like, all right, the boys got this. We've got this win in the bag. And then all hell breaks loose. Oh, boy. So Casper gets the puck in behind the net. At this point, Belleville's net is empty. Got to preface with that. Casper fighting off people behind the net to maintain possession, killing the clock. It's the second time in the game he did this. He did this on a PK once, and he's doing this when the net's empty. Really aggressive play style from him. We'll talk more about him in a second. Berge comes back in behind the net, picks up the puck, banks it off of a Belleville guy in the front, and gets it in the empty net. And Berge hardcore celebrates this empty netter. Like, normally you see an empty netter and they don't celebrate it too much. He goes for it.
He was fighting. There was a fight. Him and somebody else on Belleville were screaming at each other in the third period. So I think it was more of like he was rubbing it in their faces of, "Hey, we just won. You guys are done." Like the game was.
You know who that was, right?
Was it Angus?
No, it was Donovan.
Oh,
it was the second time in the game that Berge and Donovan got into it with each other.
Oh man, I wonder.
It happened after the Vollander goal, or Sarengo took a swat at Berge. And Berge said some things in Swedish that we can't repeat, and then it happened again in the middle of play. And I don't know what Berge. If you could see that one, he was fired up.
He was pissed.
So yeah, him getting that empty netter in there and the way he got it into, Belleville was not pleased. So we're enjoying the celebration and everything, and the boys start skating off to center ice, and somebody on Belleville, I think it was Larson, comes in and starts taking swats at Berge at center ice, and this is where it gets crazy. Didier comes in, pulls the guy off, as Didier does. Didier's such a good captain, man. My God. Just watch the way he stands up for these kids. He's so underappreciated on this team as a leader. But he comes in there, and then this is where the chaos unfolds to the point where we see our boy Simon Edvinsson drop a glove. Not both gloves. He didn't drop the gloves. He dropped a glove. Finally, for the first time, it happened. And it was against good old Angus Crookshank. So there's this whole scrum that happens, and I'll lead into how this fight unfolds. The scrum happens. Some guys are kind of paired off with each other. Some guys are rotating. Crookshank gets out of his scrum, sees one of the red helmets on the ice, and fires it down into the corner. And that right there, nope, Simon was not a fan. It immediately left his guy and goes to Angus and starts holding on to him. Crookshank drops his gloves immediately. He tries to throw a couple punches at Simon. And Simon, everybody who's watched Simon Edvinsson play knows what he does here. He holds onto the guy, holds him at a distance because he's a giant and can keep Angus Crookshank, who's what, 5'10", 5'11"?
5'11". I just looked it up.
Holds him at a distance, but Angus still, at that point, tries to throw a couple punches, and you see him connect one to like Simon's stomach, and you just see Simon kind of chuckle. And he does it again, and you see that look on Simon's face. It's kind of one of those, one more time. He does it one more time, and immediately you just see Simon, no more smile, flings that one glove off and gets two really good right hands into Crookshank's head. and then wrestles him down to the ice because he don't think he wanted to do any more damage at that point there. And I've never seen that arena get that amped in my life, except for, during some playoff games. That place was rocking when he knocked him down. And of course, Angus got up and tried to skate off. The whole time Simon's jawing at him, that big old psychotic smile he's got in his face the entire time. And I didn't see this because we were trying to watch at this point because Mandelays and Kosa were also near center ice, and we thought we were about to see a goalie fight. But as Simon skates off the ice, he finally flings that other glove that was still on his hand off into the corner before he gets off the bench and does one of the come on to the crowd as he's getting off. He was amped.
It was nuts. I mean, what an ending because you're at the empty net situation. So I think there was only like 10, 11 seconds left. And one for us to come back and win. we should have had to come back and win. Seacoast to not let a goal in. And then Simon and Bergie both involved in like fights, but Simon at the majority. And you would think like Angus Crookshank's 5'5" at the height disadvantage between him and Simon was just insane. I'm like, he's 5'11". Simon's only like what, 6'3"? So he's not.
No, he's like 6'4", 6'5".
Well, 6'4", 6. Okay, so I'm like, that's he's a huge dude. But just to finally see him like not do the cider thing of just like letting the guy hang on you and like yank you around, like Simon just turned around and was like, all right, here's 2 good ones to pay you back, and I'm gonna take you down quick. So fantastic. I know it was after the whistle. It's not something Waddy likes to see, but the fans loved it and they wanted to see it.
And see, that's the crazy, like you say, Waddy doesn't like to see those activities normally. And the Griffins did a really good job keeping their composure there. I mean, I run through the penalties here. Crookshank got 5 for fighting. Larson got 22 minutes.
You mean the Toasters?
Sorry, the Toasters. Larson got 22 minutes penalties. Crookshank got 5. Sokolov got 12 minutes there. And the Griffins come out of this whole ordeal with Didier 2 for roughing, Simon 2 for roughing, and Simon 5 for fighting. There was clearly an instigating team in this whole scenario, and the referees knew it was not Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids did everything they needed to do to protect themselves, but didn't do anything to egg it on and make it worse. If Mandelays would have kept skating at Kosa would have done what he had to do.
I would have loved to see it. Oh my God.
Mandelays is smart enough to know that kid is an athletic freak. He would have absolutely crushed him into the ground. There's no way he wouldn't have. And the crazy part is that
would have just rose expectations for tomorrow's game with Ottawa.
Oh, dude, it would have been nuts. And the crazy part, too, is you look at Ottawa's penalties there. So Crookshank obviously got 5 for fighting. Larson was 2 for unsportsmanlike, 10 for unsportsmanlike abusive officials, and a game misconduct for abusive officials. And then Sokolov also was unsportsmanlike as well. I think he's the one. I got to look at the numbers here on the side of my screen. No, it was Larson that went in and attacked Bergie right away. It wasn't Sokolov. So it was Larson. So it was wild, man. I don't know. I know you don't watch the post-game interviews too often, but I know you sent us the clip from the Wing Wheel guys sharing it. But Simon, in the middle of his interview after the game, they're talking about it, and Bergie's in the background chanting, Rocky, Rocky. Like, again, the boys are having fun right now. And it sucks that it had to end like that. Like Belleville, that's exactly kind of what we expected them to come in and be like. That's just the mentality that's carried in that organization. But at the same time, the boys held their own and made them look stupid. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, they didn't stoop to the level. I mean, after every single Belleville goal, they were like taunting and chirping and like celebrating like they had just won the Stanley Cup. And it's like, guys, you're down 3-1. You're down 3-2. You're down 3. Okay, now you're up 4. Okay, I get it. But for us to come out there and like just to respond the way we did and then, get the win, get out of there, sent them packing. That was what, six losses in a row?
That was their 6th loss in a row. I made sure to announce that quite loudly at the end of the game.
I waved at everybody as they left. I was like I don't typically do that, but I was like, that game was probably one of my favorite games this year so far.
Oh yeah,
with everything going on and just the actual gameplay was great. Our seats were fantastic too. So
they were. There was a guy in our section, man, who loved giving it to Belleville. Oh my God, respectfully, he never said anything that was offensive. They were good hockey chirps. But, oh, man, he was persistent, and I know he got a reaction out of a couple of them. It was pretty funny. He started going into Donovan, too, and I was like, oh, we like Donovan, but then Donovan being a little whatever you want to call him towards Berger in there. I don't know what that was and where that comes from. Maybe there's some bad blood from last season there. Who knows? But That was, oh man, that was fun. Bergie with that attitude, Simon doing his thing, and just the rest of the team. It was fun. It was the most fun we've had in a while. That's 5 in a row for the Griffins.
It's 5 in a row for the Griffins, and it's good too for like those two guys, Bergie and Simon. They both belong in the NHL. Like we all are banging the table for it. They both belong there, but they're down here and they're okay with it. Like they're accepted it. They accept it now. They're having fun. That's good to see. They're getting the boys. The boys are winning. Now the boys are back. Like I'm so excited right now.
I mean, and shout out to Simon for dropping the gloves there too. You know, these jerseys were auctioned off for the Griffins Youth Foundation after the game, and that probably added an extra $700-800 to it, as it almost went for $2,000.
Yeah, it finished at $1,700. That was the most I've seen all year. Oh, just absolutely crazy. So
it was wild. Yeah, good for that. Way to add some money to the charity by dropping the gloves there, Simon. Good job. But yeah, man, let's dissect this game a little bit. We run through what happened, obviously, but let's talk about some key players there, right? So we'll start off with him again, Elmer Soderblom. This was, again, this might be his best game as a Griffin. This might be the best game he's ever played in a Griffins uniform. Again, super aggressive, really smart puck movement, really just using his size and speed. His speed is back out of nowhere after these last few games. He's got wheels again. I don't know if he got new skates for Christmas and he finally broke them in or what, dude. Like this is an Elmer I haven't seen since we saw him go to Detroit and do really, really well there. I mean, if you look at it, he was already bumped up. He got bumped up the lines on Friday night when Aston Reese left the game early with an injury, but was back. So he was playing, with Casper and Bergie, and he definitely took advantage of that in his situation. But, he's still back on the third line. He's playing well, and I'm just really excited to see what unfolds for him. A lot of us kind of wrote him off there for the last few weeks. We're kind of like, maybe this is, a guy we don't see has a place anymore. But if he's playing like this, he's got a place.
Yeah, I think he got an Yzerman bump over the weekend. I think Stevie had a one-on-one with him and said, this is what we kind of need from you. You need to step it up. That's just speculation. I have no idea, but
Right.
Because this was a whole different Elmer for these 2 weeks. This is the Elmer that we saw in Detroit last year. So it was over these 2 games, like he really put in the work and he was really playing. The compete was there, like which has been
seriously there,
which has been lacking. So, and we need Elmer. Like if we can get him going, if he could finish the season with 10, 20 goals, that's fantastic for him. I don't know. I forget who is the lead right now. 15 for Bergie
for goals.
Yeah, he's got 13.
Bergie's at 13. He's leading the team in goals. So catching up to him is possible.
Yeah, at 5.
Let me put it like this: if Elmer can get to 35 points this season, he's at 17 currently. 30 to 35 points. I'm thrilled with how that season ends.
Well, he's on pace for that now. We're a little over the halfway part.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if he can stay on pace, that would be nice.
We need him higher. Come on, Brandon, go higher.
I want to see him hit that pace right there. And anything on top of that is a bonus. I want to see him hit that pace, but also not look like Bambi on skates, which he didn't this weekend. He looked like Elmer on skates. If he looks like Bambi on skates, there's a problem.
Do you think
that's when he's bad?
Yeah.
But outside of him, though, we could talk about Bergie again. Another 3-point night. Do we really need to talk more about Jonathan Berggren? Like he belongs in the NHL. We're fully on that bandwagon here. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing, and he's going to find that spot there. And like we said, it really feels like he knows something we don't know. He knows something about what the plan is, and again, if he can play like this and really become a consistent player like this, he's a consistent second or third line in Detroit automatically. And look what he's done to the second line. Like look what he's done since he's been back down to the second line in Grand Rapids. Everybody around him has gotten better. Marco Kasper's hit a stride since he's gone down there. Like everybody that he plays with is better right now. I can't say that the third guy they play with because it's rotated so much with injury lately, but he immediately went in and he's made Marco Kasper a better player. And Marco Kasper is learning more and more from him. And yes, Marco Kasper had 0 points across the board in this game. He had an assist Friday night, but nothing to show for on the stat sheet here. 6 shots on goal. I mean, the kid's got confidence right now. He's trying. He hit a lot of posts. A lot of posts that night. Him and Cross Hannes found the post quite a bit in this game, unfortunately. Belleville's lucky the post was on their side. Let's just say that. I mean, yeah, another guy that played well that night, Albert Johansson, outside of this sick goal that he had. I mean, he wasn't the ice for one goal against. It was the power play goal that Cruikshank scored to get their scoring started. But outside of that, man, just really defensively sound. Played a really rough and tough game, I feel like. I saw a couple big hits from him. And just, again, he's always in the right place at the right time. I don't understand how he does it. His hockey sense is getting better and better as weeks go by. And, you know, we all know Simon Edvinsson belongs in the NHL too, but we really hope there's some move at the deadline to get Albert at least his 9 games this year. Like, this kid deserves that opportunity and that shot. I 100% am for that now.
So, question then. So if the Wings are, I heard today that they have to be at like 92 points to make the playoffs. Do you want to put a rookie like Albert Johansson in the NHL when we're that, and we're going to finish with 91. We're projected to finish with 91 points. Do you want to put a rookie defenseman and mess up the chemistry that this team has had?
Yep, 100%.
To get him the 9 game, to get him the 9 games?
100%. Because he's not going to do worse than anybody that's up there. He's not a liability to anything that's up there. Is he going to go up there and play top line minutes like he's playing down here? No. I want to see him on that third pairing even.
You want to
put him with Ghost.
A playoff spot?
Calling up Albert Johansson won't cost us a playoff spot. Calling up Simon Edvinsson wouldn't cost us a playoff spot. Calling up Berger's not going to cost us a playoff spot.
For either team?
No.
It's so close. It's coming right down to the wire. Like the rest of the season, it's coming down to a point.
You don't play Albert Johansson this year in the NHL, he's gone. I'm telling you right now. I'm saying it. He's gone. This is your make or break year for him. Give him a sniff so he sees what's there to work for, or he's gone. You want to burn that prospect?
No, I like Albert. I want him here.
All right. So then he's got to get some games in. It's just what it is. It is what it is at this point. They have to. The more we've said that the first time, the more I look at it and I go, yeah, 100%. And again, he's not going to go in there and do anything worse than anyone is doing right now. That's the beauty of having the same system across the board finally, is he can show up there and not be confused. I mean, was that Luff that talked about that during the event?
Yeah.
You know, he talked about, having that cohesiveness between the groups now. It's really plug and play, and the guys don't ever feel out of place when they show up there. Sure, his first shift might be shaky because, God, it's his first shift in the NHL. But there's no way you can look me in the eyes and tell me that Johansson going up there and Petrie being scratched for a night is going to hurt the Detroit Red Wings.
I would like to stick. I'm a big guy of like, if it's working, it's working. Don't mess with it. Just keep it going. Keep the train running. Don't change tracks. Don't change tires. Let it go. The chemistry's there. The team's gelling. Don't need to, like, if a line's working, there's no need to switch it. There's no need to fix it. If
what happened when the Red Wings called up Bergen for those few games and he went up there and put up 5 points and came back and he's been an absolute all-star since he's come back?
I mean, Bergie was always an all-star in my heart. But like he's an NHL player.
You were ready to ship him off a few months ago.
I mean, I'm still ready to ship him off. He just doesn't fit in the timeline, but he is an NHL player. Like I point back to his jersey, but he is an NHL player, but there's no space for him right now. There's no, unless Detroit becomes sellers at the deadline, there's not a spot for him up there this year. Pending injury. Unless like Fabry or somebody like that. Fabry would be the smartest guy to move, to be honest.
And I hope they do.
And then Bergie slots there. Like that would be the guy. But if they don't move Fabry, then I don't see them. Or Bergie. I don't see that.
We are at a fortunate time as an organization where if somebody goes down at almost any level except the top pairings, we're fine.
Yeah.
We're fine. We have depth. But at the same time, there's a lot of risk that we're playing with here on losing a couple. Again, Albert is borderline NHL ready.
Yeah, I would say that. I agree with you.
He's gonna demand a trade.
I listened to Daniela Bruce and Locked On this morning, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not trying to change the chemistry. We're not trying to change the gelling system. We want to keep everybody
because
like."
you're not gonna get anything out of someone who works directly for the team. I specifically loved the conversation I had with the Wing Wheel boys at the end of this because when they were talking about where they used to get their information and stuff like that, how they said they lost some sources. They go, "What do you think you're going to get something good out of the Red and White Authority and Daniela and them?" No, they're a team-driven podcast. You're not going to hear anything out of the ordinary from them. They're not going to tell you anything. They're going to tell you to stick with the script, and that's what we're going to do. This is the exact conversation we had before you even listened to that episode. That's the funniest part, is that we were already talking about how the team is going to continue to tell people that we're going to stay on track and do this and this, and we're not going to change anything.
No, the guys were agreeing with that. Like, they shouldn't change. They shouldn't move anybody. If they're in a spot, they keep that spot. So that's why I'm like, I agree with those guys. Like, that's why I'm having a disagreement with you. Because I'm with them.
That's
like,
fine.
Keep those guys there. Keep those guys here. I get what they're trying to do and trying to build towards. Like, it makes complete sense to me. Like, if we were in a different spot like last year, yeah, like where we're selling people, let's say we have a terrible February. Perfect. Ship some guys off, move some guys up. Let's play with the roster. I get that. Let's do it at that point. But if the way they're going now, no. Yeah, I'll talk about that later.
I'm gonna be honest with you. No, we can talk about it now. It's fine. I'll be honest. I would rather make changes now and see what we have and miss the playoffs this year. Do I want to make the playoffs with Jeff Petrie this year to get bounced in the first round and not know what I have waiting and potentially lose it? No. The Wings aren't going to make a deep run. They're not winning the Stanley Cup. I hope Wings fans aren't thinking they're actually going to win the Stanley Cup. I don't think they're going to win the conference. I don't think they're going to win a division. They're going to end up in the playoffs. They'll win 1 or 2 games, and they're going to get bounced in the first round. Clip it, save it for later if you want to. That's what's going to happen with the Red Wings. They do not have the pieces they need to be as tough as they need to in a playoff series. This team is going to get run over in a playoff series.
Can you teach me how to clip? So I'll save it for later. But
got you. Yeah, I'll send you the clip for you. This Red Wings team will get run over in the playoffs. I'm telling you. See what you got. Because what happens? What happens when Albert goes up there or Simon's back up there, and they are so much better, and all of a sudden we have a first. All of a sudden we have a first defensive pairing that's playing shutdown hockey against the toughest minutes in the NHL. And all of a sudden we have a second line that could be shut down too, and maybe take some pressure off Mo Seider and Jake Wallman. Maybe they'll start delivering on the offensive side of the puck too. Mo Seider needs a break. It's not only the fact that we're running the risk of pissing off a prospect here. We need to know what we have so Mo can get a freaking break. That kid is being run ragged right now. It's like when we ran Husso into the ground last year, and what happened the last month of the season? He was terrible.
Yeah.
And he's had trouble bouncing back this year. You run the risk to do that to any position. You've got to know what you have in the depth of your team to understand what kind of run you could actually make. And if you don't think you can make a run, you got to sell a couple pieces. Fabry, you can trade him. If you somehow find a way to unload Petrie's contract, do it. If you somehow find a way to trade Justin Hall, good luck, but do it. To the original point, getting rid of those pieces and replacing them with those two, or one even, of Simon or Albert, is not going to make this current Red Wings team worse. It might not make them better, and it's not going to make them worse. It's going to leave them exactly where they are. It's pretty much plug and play, and we keep moving forward. And you have the chance, that small little chance, to be just a smidge better, which could make all the difference.
See, I think it's important for them both. I think both organizations are trying to shoot for the playoffs, even if they know that, hey, once you're in, anything can happen. Anything can happen. You saw St. Louis do it not last year. We lost a few years there. A couple years ago, you saw the LA Kings do it as an 8th seed as well. They got in. St. Louis was like dead last at Christmas break and got in and won the whole thing. So I think their goal is really just to keep the team together. It depends on what this month is and the injuries and whatnot. But playoff hockey is important for both cities, Detroit and for Grand Rapids. And if you can get Marco Kasper, Amadeus Lombardi, you can get Elmer playoff hockey experience and Albert Johansson in Kosa, playoff experience in the AHL. I think that is so important, especially if the Wings can make the playoffs as well. Instead of saying, let's move everybody and put them up to Detroit and let them go. Like, I get what you're saying. Like,
all I asked for was 9 games. That's all I asked for. I didn't ask him to be up there for the rest of the season. He needs to be up there for 9 games.
Yeah,
There's
but
a difference.
I don't want to. I don't want to risk 9 games. If we're over the limit, like we're in the playoffs. Maybe we bring them up in the last like 4 or 5 games because we've already clinched. I get that. Like, okay, give them the time, give them that experience. But right now it's so close. That's why I'm like, I couldn't see him going up.
I mean, Simon got his 9 games in them last year, only missed like 3 in Grand Rapids because of the schedule, the way it is. Like, there's ways to do this the right way.
Yeah, and I don't know I don't have the schedule in front of me. I have both teams, and I had a weird.
Yeah, there's ways to do it the right way.
Yeah.
What I'm saying.
But you say if he doesn't get it, if he doesn't get it at all, then like he's gone.
It puts us at major risk for him to be gone, 100%. Just like we said with Berge, if there's not a guaranteed spot in Detroit for Berge, end of this season or beginning of next season, where the plan's there, he's gone. Whether he gets traded or not. If he doesn't get traded, he's gone. He's going to request a trade. He wants to play in the NHL. He does not want to play here. Simon doesn't want to play here, but they're playing here and they're doing their job because they know what they have to do. Because if they sit down here and they tank, then they're going to get nowhere, and then they're just going to end up back home. Yeah. But we got to give him a shot. We got to know what we've got. We got to know what we have waiting.
I would love to have a Johansson Red Wings jersey. I mean,
it'd be sick.
Yeah, I don't have a Grand Rapids one. Well, neither do you, I guess.
I have a Toasters one.
So yeah, sorry, we went way off on a rant, but I mean, I think that was.
No, that's fine. That's what people want to listen to, right?
I think it was worthy.
You want me to sit here and repeat the same opinion of every other podcast, or tell you like, hey, this is what I think should happen, and you can flame me for it all day long if you want, but at the same time,
I'll do it.
Just like me when I looked at the Lions, I said they're going to win their first playoff game, and they did. And anything at this point is going to happen. I have no hopes for anything else, and I was surprised and treated with way more than I thought I'd ever get this season. Next season, I expect them to win too. Do I expect them to win it all? I don't know. Let's see what they do. It's early. But that's the thing, is I expect the Red Wings to come in and win a playoff game or 2 this year. I do not expect them to get past the first round. They make me eat my words and get past the first round.
Perfect.
Amazing. We're right on track. Toronto's absolutely trash. And, we move on. Like, that's just what it is. So, no, these kids, there's some special kids on this team that deserve a shot, and I think they need to see what's available to him. Because I think you give him that taste, and he knows, hey, like, there's a plan here, and I could get to this. His playoff production down in Grand Rapids is going to be through the roof. He's going to continue to get better, and I think you're going to see exactly what happened with Berge. You see the last call-up happen, they come back, and they come in and play lights-out hockey. And that's all we want. We want these guys to do that and produce.
Yeah, Husso did it too. I mean, he went up and then he came down and he played lights out.
I mean, again, when you talk about plus minus, right, you always look for an outlier. It's not a great stat to look at. Albert Johansson's played 33 games as a defenseman of this Griffins team that's had ups and downs, and he's still a plus 11 on the defensive side, playing second or first line defensive minutes.
Yeah.
Simon Edvinsson's a plus 1. And Albert Johansson, by the way, is only 9 points short of tying Edvinsson in points.
He's 9 away?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And Simon's played 3 more games.
Yeah. Well, and Albert's game isn't offense. It's the shutdown defenseman.
No, and that's what's crazy is he's got that much points, and he's shutting it down like he is, too.
Yeah. He's playing well.
Shout out to Amisto and Vollander, but they're both positive now, too.
I thought Vollander played really well too, and like what we saw in practice literally translated to the game. Like that shot, I think he goes on a little bit of a tear here too. A little podcast bump for you, buddy.
There you go. All of our defensemen, but 3 of them are in the positive now, plus minus.
Do you want me to guess?
Yeah, go for it.
Shoot. All right. Let me say Brogan Rafferty is a minus.
Nope. He's plus 4.
Wyatt Newpower.
Wyatt Newpower is a plus 7.
We're guessing pluses, right?
You're guessing who the 3 minuses were. You're doing bad.
It's gotta be Jared McIsaac.
You got 1. He's a minus 3.
Didier is a minus.
-5.
Yep.
One more.
Yeah. Is this guy on the team currently?
He's hurt.
I'm trying to think of who's hurt.
There's only one defenseman that's hurt.
I know, that's why I'm like having a blank. Let me look at the list.
He has played some games in Toledo. Oh man, I'm giving him all the hints here, folks. I don't know what to tell you.
Dude, can you put in the Jeopardy music? It helps me
We'll
think.
be back after this message from our sponsor.
Emil Vero.
There you go. There you go. Everybody, Vollander, Edvinsson, Tuomisto, Rafferty, Newpower, and Johansson are all on the plus side now.
That's huge.
You know what else is on the plus side too? Our goal differential.
Yeah.
118 goals for, 114 against.
It's not by much, but we're trending in the right direction.
Got that. The Griffins are 7-2-1 in their past 10. Haven't lost a game in regulation in their last 6. Boy, do things feel good right now. We're 2 points away from catching the Texas Stars for second in the division.
And they're on a downward spiral right now, which is weird.
They're 3-7 in their last 10. You know what's even crazier than that, though, is the Milwaukee Admirals have won 10 straight games.
I had that here too. I wonder what's going on over there. Why are they so good?
They're not losing many pieces to call up like they have in the past. I mean, look at you still have Askarov playing NHL level hockey, but he's stuck behind UC Saros.
He probably leaves next year if he's not in the NHL.
Who do you trade for him? Who do you trade for him? Askarov Kosa combo. Here we go.
There we go. I think too, looking at the standings, like I think the Wolves will overtake Rockford. I mean, they're on the Wolves have been on a heater. Rockford has been on a 3-game losing streak. So
the Wolves 7-3 in their last 10.
Iowa's been bad. Manitoba's they just finally got back in the win column this weekend too. So it's they
played Rockford, I think.
Oh jeez. That would make sense. Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of stays at the top 3 between us, Texas, and Milwaukee. And I mean, hopefully we can move up and past Texas coming up.
Look, it's right where you want to be. You don't want to be in that best of 3 playing round or whatever the heck they do in this division. Like, you want to be able to just have that playoff spot solidified and know who you're going to play and go from there. So I like where we're at. I like where we're trending. And dude, the hockey this team is playing right now is just really good hockey. They just got to clean up the start and the second. But God, if they could play like they played in the third every single minute they play, whoo, dangerous.
This is kind of where we projected them in the beginning of the season. Right there,
it really is, honestly.
Second or third place. Like, not to toot their own horn, but like we had Milwaukee, Texas, 1 or 2. I think you and I had them different, and then we had Grand Rapids right there. So, and we said right around Christmas time, and since Christmas they're 10-2-1. So I mean, they're on this crazy streak.
So here's what I'll end this on for you here, because there's one more player I want to talk about from the game, but we went off on quite a big tangent here. And I said this to you at the game, and you disagreed with me, so this could go on another tangent too. Nice. But as we know, Sebastian Kosa came into this game in the third period and played absolutely lights out, right? 11 shots faced and 11 saves, shut out in the third period, continues to play extremely well. We anticipated we would have seen him Friday or Saturday, but obviously Husso screwed that all up. But, in his past few games, Kosa's on the streak of letting in maybe only 1 goal a game, except for that one outlier game, I believe, against Rockford. So, has Kosa overtaken, in your eyes, because Dan Watson won't tell us, he won't say that he's even going to make a decision on this. He might just let him play balance. But has Sebastian Kosa solidified his spot as the starter in Grand Rapids in your eyes?
I think that the rest of the season they're going to rotate like they did, like Waddy did last year with Letherman and Kosa. I think that's what he's going to do. I think goalie has a bad night every once in a while. I think Hutch just had a shaky night right from the start. I don't know if it was.
This is not his first one lately, though. He's been shaky quite a bit.
He's
been shaky quite a bit. Now, remember Hutch's numbers here. So hold on, 20 games played, 2.89 goals against, a .895 save percentage. Kosa 2.75 goals against. He's gotten that number down quickly over the last few weeks, and a .907 save percentage, which he has pumped up a lot over the last few weeks here. So we know, like we said, Waddy's not going to make that decision. He'll probably split him no matter what happens here. But if you walked into the room and you had to sit there and go, all right, this is my starter for every night, you have to choose one. Who are you picking
for next season or for like
the rest of the season? You can't say they're going to go alternate. You have to walk in and make that decision tonight. You have to say you're getting the majority of the starts the rest of the season. Who is it?
Well, that's not fair, Brandon, because you know me, I'm all about balance. So
I know that's why I gave you the tough question.
I mean, I think it's just like what Dan Campbell does with his running backs, is he makes them split carries, and they were the two most dynamic running backs with 10 touchdowns and 1,000 yards. So I like that aspect of keeping them fresh and keeping these two goalies fresh. Now, if I had a gun to my head, like you currently have to me right now, I mean, I would have to pick. Please send help. Is Sebastian Kosa. I mean, based off of his recent play, when we were at the Wing Wheel the event, Dan said, he goes, somebody has to. He said right now he's going to keep rotating them back and forth, but because nobody's really like stood out. Like I can't remember how he worded it, but somebody has to like take over that starting role. But I want to know, like, I wanted to ask him a question, like, what is it going to take for somebody to do that? Like, because he's getting better each game. Like, he's getting on that tear. But even last year at this time, like, he did take over that starting role. They knew he was going to be moving up to Grand Rapids next year.
Yeah.
Like, long-winded answer, but you got to go with Kosa. I like going with hot hand. Like, that's me. But at a point to where you could burn them out. You know, you want to make sure you balance that. So, like, I'm getting, what was the game the other night with Lion? Lion gave up a couple, and I'm like, this is not a good game for him. Like,
he turns around and gets a shutout.
Yeah, like he needed off, and then he needed to take the shutout game. Like, it's important to stay fresh and not get to that burnout stage. And that's where I thought that they were kind of leaning with Lion. So yeah, a lot of goalie talk tonight.
It's, but that's a hot topic of this organization in reality. I mean, if you think about it. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with Dan's move on that. Keeping them rotating, keeping them fresh. And they, like you said, they know pretty far in advance who's playing, except for Husso screwing up everything. Like, Coast knows he's most likely starting this Friday in Rockford. Like, that's like being a goalie where the position is so mental, having that much more knowledge to prep for going into him, that much more tape you can watch on the other team. Like, that's so key. Now, he clearly was ready to come in and play against Belleville, so we know he was going to play at some point against them because he looked fantastic against them. But, I mean, he has a few more games like he's playing now. He's knocking on the doors as one of the top 20 goalies in the AHL. He's he's this close to catching Wallstead, who's 20th right now, who's having a horrific time since he's come back from the Minnesota Wild, but he's also back with the Minnesota Wild too. So kind of back and forth. He doesn't know what's going on. That organization's a dumpster fire too. It's okay. But, his numbers aren't far off from some of the top guys in the league, and that's what we got to keep an eye out here for. And my favorite part of all this is the Kosa hate is a lot quieter than it was 2 months ago. And what this kid's been able to do and figure out. And he did the same thing in Toledo. This is right around the same time he went 10 in a row down there. Like, he knows what he's doing, and the growth in the game that he plays is so noticeable. And for a kid that's this young to be able to still grow that much in his skill, just shows you the potential he truly does have. Like, I'm a full believer at some point he's going to be taking over that net in Detroit. We just don't know when.
Probably in 5 years.
Maybe 3.5, 4.
Yeah.
3.5, 4.
It's
a backup in Detroit probably the next year and a half too. At this point,
I'm not going to agree. I'm not going to comment on that.
No, we've said before. We'll say it again. 3 years. 3 years is our expectation. So this season plus 2 more.
Yeah, it's so hard to win in the league. It's so hard, and to win 10 in a row, that's amazing. I don't know what
Yeah.
he's on a crazy win streak right now too, though. But like the beginning of the season, I think it's going to be important to see what he does. I would judge him from Christmas on, because those first 3 months was just a horrendous play from the Griffins. Like they were trying to gel, they were trying to figure it out. They had injuries, they had call ups up to Detroit with Berge going up and down, Sarna going up and down. The team is very different with these guys. So I mean, they're trying to learn the system, they're trying to learn the coaches, they're trying to figure themselves out as a team because it's so much turnovers too. So I hate to see the stats on Kosa, because a lot of those goals, like they were giving up 40 shots. Their first 2 games, they gave up 40 shots. So you're gonna get scored out of in the first 40 shots. So I mean, like they let him. There was a lot of high scoring games in those first couple months too. So now they've kind of really settled down. They're playing better. They're playing better in front of him. He's tracking the puck way better than he was in the beginning of the season too. And I mean, he's learning the mental game. That's the hardest part. So I did like that extra tidbit that Dan gave us, is that the goalies already know who's playing what games, like the week prior. So it gives them time to stay fresh, to stay on it. I had something and I lost it. I literally lost it. Sorry.
No, you're okay. You're okay. Yeah, no, you hit the nail right on the head. You know, you remove that first month and a half of stats right there, and I mean, if you wanted to sit there and do the math, I don't know what it would be, but Kosa would be in the top 10 in the league at this point.
I was gonna do it, but I lost track of time.
Yeah, might be an exclusive episode. We'll do that one of those times, or our mid-season recap episode. We could throw that one out there, but. I mean, the kid's playing well. I wanted to make sure it was noted that he did, after coming into that game, after we got off track there, when he came into that game and played as well as he did in the situation. God, I wish he would have dropped the gloves. Oh, man.
That would have been.
You saw the smile on his face afterwards. He knew. He knew.
Oh man. God. That arena would have lost its freaking mind if
we would have lost our freaking minds. Are you kidding me?
Do you know the last time there was a goalie fight in Van Andel?
I don't. It's happened. It's been a long time. I think the old logo was on the Griffins' chest. I can tell you that for sure.
We'll have to ask Tyler.
If I had to guess, it's back. It's going to be back to your IHL days. I don't know if it's happened in the AHL yet.
You have to shoot him a message and ask. Or I will.
Yeah, I'll have to ask. If anyone knows, he knows. Yeah, man. That's all I have for this week. Anything else from you?
Nothing else. Toledo just finished a terrible weekend too. So it was let me say this. There was a weak storm this weekend.
Except for Sunday night. We'll talk more about them on Thursday. We have a whole recap of their Toledo storm weekend, but Sunday they showed up. Friday, Saturday it was a rough time. I think it was 9-1 though on Sunday by them. So Jesus. But yeah, we'll have a whole part of our Thursday episode will be devoted to the Toledo Walleye. We promise. But outside of that, you have nothing else? That's all we have for this week. Appreciate everyone's patience as this episode was delayed a couple days, but it was hopefully it was worth your time. I'm sure there's one argument in here that was definitely worth your time. We'll see how that goes over with everybody. But thank you for tuning in to this wonderful, it's not a Monday episode, it's a Tuesday episode, it's probably a Wednesday episode. Who knows at this point? As you go on about your week, and if you feel a little cold outside, then make sure you head over to everythinghockey.com and grab yourself a sweet hoodie, their hockey lace hoodies. Use code WEST, get 10% off your order. Code WEST, 10% off. We're waiting on ours. They're going to be sick. I can't wait to get them. Outside of that, though, I think you have some Patreon people to thank.
Yes, thank you, Spencer, Michael Alsante, and Randy. I was going to see Randy this weekend, too.
It was. We didn't get to see him at the game. That was a fun time. Always fun seeing Randy. But outside of that, thank you to the Hockey Podcast Network for being a great host. Thank you for DraftKings for being an amazing sponsor. Thank you to you, sir, for your patience with me today. As you know, when I get sick, I'm just a whiny baby. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Have a wonderful week. We'll talk to y'all Thursday. And go Wings, because I think they play. Do they play this week?
Tomorrow, Pride Night against Ottawa.
Oh, yeah. Go Wings, baby. Oh, boy. Everybody have a good week.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter @HockeytownWPod and your host, Nick at GR Hockey Guy and Brandon at Brandon GR Hockey.